So I'm having this conversation with you right after a very exciting in-gathering service last Sunday. It was so great to have at least 130 people in the sanctuary, 50 or so more people online, for us to be together across generations, children, young adults, and adults of many different generations. It felt like church, it felt like a community, and I loved the spirit in the room. I'm beginning my third year of ministry with you, and at this point, I would like to share with you what I have in mind for our vision of our ministry together. Now, I do think that there was a song that we sang in the in-gathering service that's still resonating with me. You might remember, "Let's build a church for you and me. Let's build a church for you and me. A place where we can be happy and free." That song, I feel, is my theme song for this year. I hope it will catch on, because I think it actually points to not just an idea of building a church together, but also some very practical ideas on how we might do that. Like every other congregation around the country, across many different denominations, we've had to rebuild after the pandemic. And each congregation has been able to do that at their own pace, in their own way. I personally feel really proud of what we've been able to do over these last 2 years. Sure, we had the challenges of the pandemic and having to adapt and so forth. But during that time, we also developed some capacities and some strengths. I'll name a few of those. One of those, of course, was our capacity to live stream our services so that if people could not attend, they could, in the building, they could attend online. That also created an opportunity for those much beyond our own congregation to do maybe their first visit to us online. Several of our new members have told me their first visits were to our online services. That is a strength to really be proud of. We've also been very intentional about making our adult programs, our live stream programs for adults, as opportunities not only for our own congregation, but for members in the wider community to join us for these programs on personal spiritual growth and social transformation. We had a summer camp this summer, our second summer camp. It's getting to be an annual event, perhaps, where we invited not only our own members, but people in the broader community to join us as well. We've been doing ongoing work around social service with Ilya, and our asylum family, of course, is a new project. We did a lot of work around getting out the vote. So we developed some strengths and some capacities to act on those things that we really care about in our world. Our pastoral care team has been strong in meeting with people during times of need or crisis, and we have a wonderful cadre of worship associates. Of course, our children's, youth, and religious exploration program has also come back, and the children are excited, the youth are excited about what they're building together. So I want to first of all say that let's recognize the strengths that we've built during the pandemic and in spite of the pandemic, and let's take the next step together, because we also have some challenges to face. And so when I think about let's build a church for you and me, I want us to think about what are the strengths we can continue to build on, and what are those challenges that we're ready now to look at and to face together. So I have a schema of looking at a way of organizing those challenges, and the first is to look at what is it that we currently do in terms of making ourselves known in the wider community. I would call that community presence. How are we in actual presence in the community? Now, we have some strengths already in that arena of activity as a congregation, but also I think we have some challenges. The strengths, of course, again, are anyone can attend our service if they want to attend online. And many of our live stream programs and other events are also online and available. But how do we create a bridge from what we're doing within our sanctuary with those who are in the wider community, the broader community who could be served by what we are doing? I want to invite you into the practices related to that arena of activity. We are going to have Bring a Friend Sundays this year. And when that call goes out, I want you to think about who it is that you will invite to join with you for a worship service, a concert, one of our live stream programs, or to join in a sing-along, a multi-generational sing-along, or whatever other activity there might be. That would be a way of inviting people into what it is that we offer as a congregation. The next arena of activity is once people have crossed that threshold and have found us, is how do we welcome? How do we welcome them so that they feel like this is a place where I can belong? This is a group that not only talks about being welcoming, but they also demonstrate it in their actual practices. This, my friends, is a place where we need to build more strengths. I like to think of us, if we're saying, let's build a church for you and me, I like to think of us as inviting people into our house. If you have someone you're inviting into your house, usually you provide a snack or a refreshment or some way to warm up the opportunity for interaction with them. We very rarely have people in our congregation right now providing that kind of hospitality. I think we can do much better at that. We also need some people who really understand that their role on a particular Sunday is to be that welcoming presence that connects with who our newcomers are on that Sunday, finds out something about them, but also finds out what brought them here and how we might connect who they are, what they're aspiring towards with what it is that we have to offer. That happens on a very informal basis right now. That's an arena of activity that I really feel we can strengthen. So let's build a church that is a welcoming church for you and for me as well. One of our strengths is the nurturing activities that we already provide. Oftentimes when we're welcoming someone, we're welcoming them into the nurturing that we provide through our worship services, through our children and youth programs, through our adult education programs, our live stream programs, our social events, a vegan dinner, a sing-along, a concert, any number of things that might actually nourish and nurture someone who joins us. I'd like for us to be known as a nurturing church that nurtures the spirit, nurtures the personal growth and development of each person that comes through our doors, that nurtures connections and community among people. My friends, you and I know that we are headed towards some very challenging times in our country. Well, we're already there, but it might increase in the months ahead. So we need to provide what I call that sacred center where people can land and feel like there is a house of hope. There is a community that cares for what they care about. There's a way to actually have hope about the world that we're creating together. So I say we have a lot of strengths to already build on there. If we can improve our welcoming activities, we can help connect people to those nurturing opportunities that we already provide. If we can reach out into the community more and to our own networks and friends more, then we have an opportunity to welcome them and to provide a pathway for them to be nurtured. Fortunately, we have a new team that will put some effort in some of that outreach into the community, but it depends as much on you as it does on what that team is about to do as well. Now, this talk really is a way for me to share with you that we need to minister together. We need to build that church together. And so I want each of us to take a moment before you stop watching this video and ask, how might I participate in building the church that we're trying to create together? How might I be part of that community presence? How might I be part of that welcoming presence on a Sunday or another day of the week, so that we welcome and connect newcomers with who it is that we are and what it is that we offer? You all have the opportunity to respond to that and feel empowered to be part of the church that we build together. And finally, I'd like for us to be really creative and imaginative about thinking about how we create opportunities for service in this congregation. We will always have ongoing committees, but I also want to recognize that not everyone can join a committee. But some people can join a team that has a very specific focus. I'd like you to think about which team you might be able to be part of. Or maybe you can be part of a short term, I like to call it a sprint, a certain kind of thing that we're going to do for a designated period of time to accomplish some particular task. You might find that that's a way that you could serve. Or maybe it's just a one-time opportunity to be of service. So each Sunday, we recite our mission as a congregation. We call it our affirmation. And I want to close with this so that we recognize that this really sets us into being a certain kind of presence in the world, and that if this is our affirmation, we can affirm it as much with our practices as we can with our words. So I'll close with this. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action. I'm excited about joining with you in this mission, particularly this year.